Hello everyone, my name is Sorc or Drag, however you want to call me. I would like to welcome you to a series of videos that will hopefully aid you in your Sorceress learning journey, which I will call Sorceress High School. The concept is very simple. It will be multiple videos, each of them with one or two subjects, so it's easier to understand and not overload your brain. Starting from basics like iframes, what are iframes, how to iframe, and so on. Some of the subjects that I will cover are, as I previously said, iframes, animation cancels, stamina control, moving safely, engages, and maybe more depending on how much you like the format. And if you have anything that you think would be great for the videos or any feedback, feel free to let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe if it helped you in any way, shape, or form. With that said, that concludes the introduction. Welcome to the Sorceress High School. I hope you learn a thing or two. Let's get started. So in this video, we're gonna talk about invisible frames, also called iframes. So what are iframes? Iframes is very self-explanatory. It's an invisible frame. You can't get attacked, you can't get CC, you're basically invisible. Also invincible. Sorceress, as most of you know, she's kind of the queen of iframes. Everything about her is iframes, her movements are iframes. The way we gotta play is basically in iframe. So Sorceress iframe is also called Nitro, which is this one right here. To do an iframe, you either WW or you press shift in any directional key, either A, D, S. Forward doesn't work, as you can see. So you gotta WW if you want to iframe forward, which leads me to my next point. You should, or at least try to bound your WW key either to your mouse button or any other accessible key that you can easily press. This way, when you have to use the WW iframe, you just press the hotkey that you put on it and you're iframing away. Simple, right? Another thing that I want to point out to you guys and that you have to lock is a skill called Evasion. This one right here. If you don't lock it, when you're out of stamina, you're gonna do a roll and it's gonna get you killed basically. When you run out of stamina and charge, you're just gonna do that roll. That's gonna get you killed. So just lock it, keep it locked since the first day that you tried your Sorc from level 1. Lock it. So when iframing, we have sort of 2 to 3 types of iframe, if you want to call them like that. We have your single micro right here, which looks like this. It's either WW, Shift A, Shift D, or Shift S. That's all micro. There's also Storming Crow, which goes after Nitro. In Nitro once, keep it hold, and you see that's the flip. So something very crucial to know about that, this first iframe, Nitro, is safe. Okay, you can iframe away all you want. You're not gonna get CC'd unless, you know, desync or something like that happens. Your second, the flip one, is not protected. It's just super armor, so you can get grabbed from it and have a bad day. So another thing to point out about Storming Crow is that you can actually CC with it, and it's actually sometimes fairly handy because not a lot of people expect it, but it all depends on the case and the situation. So to do it, you have to kind of sort of gauge the distance of the first iframe, which is like 5 steps backward. 3, 4, 5, and you iframe forward and keep it hold the shift key, and he gets CC. It is a bound CC, so the CC count is gonna be up to 1 if you do that, so keep that in mind. Now that I talk about the CC count, I'm not gonna go too much in depth with that in this video or any other video, because I'm basically here to kind of teach you how to use the class, okay? I'm not gonna go crazy in depth with the whole CC system and how everything works, but I'll try to sum it up here and leave it here if you guys are interested. I'll leave a link in the description below with the article that you can read all about it. So every CC, like stun, knockback, floating, bound, knockdown, freezing, grab, splash, grapple, they all have a CC count of 1. So when your opponent reaches the CC count of 2, they'll be given a 5-second CC immunity, which basically means they won't get CC'd for 5 seconds no matter what you throw at them. That's really the basics of it. Like I said, I'm not gonna go too much in depth for that. If you guys want to follow up on that and read about it, see a couple videos, I'll leave those in the description below. So back to the iframes. Again, 5 steps backward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at your character's feet, by the way. So again, you can either hold the hotkey for WW, or you can kind of look to the side, shift, and directional. Any way you want to go to your opponent, you're gonna get the CC'd, okay? Okay, so that pretty much covers that on the iframes. Learning what the iframes are and how they work. It's not the biggest issue on Sorc, right? So we know that the biggest issue is the stamina consumption. So how do we control it among other stuff? So let's get into stamina control. So how do we control our stamina? The truth of it is that it's not simple, and being completely honest, you're gonna lose your stamina. So my best advice, don't think too much of it. Instead of trying to learn how to control your stamina, focus a bit more on how to regain it. Because if you regain your stamina, you basically don't have to worry about your stamina, right? Simple. Or so it seems anyways. So there's a couple ways that we can try to maintain our stamina, try to control it, and try to be as diligent with it as much as we can. So first things first. So one thing I will suggest is that you level your breath up. It doesn't have to be to level 40. I didn't AFK it. It doesn't have to be that high up. Easier way, which you get just by staying logged in the game with the dream chest, the Oasis event, the ones, basically the juice. It looks like this. So there's one for each category. You got health, strength, and breathe. That's just an easier way to do it. So with that said, the only thing left is just to control your skills, control your stamina, which it sounds easier than it is, right? So something to keep in mind is that some skills don't use stamina and regen your stamina while you use them. So skills like engulfing shadow, shadow ignition. I don't know what happened there. The other one is dark flame. There's also rushing crow. There's also shadow leap. That is if you're not in succession. So if you're ever in need of some stamina regen, those skills could actually help you a bit. So if you pay close attention to the stamina bar down, you see every iframe, you know, as usual, takes a lot of stamina, right? If you pay close attention to it, now that I do engulfing shadow, you'll see it regening a bit. As you can see, even when I'm using the skill, I'm still regening stamina. That's something to keep in mind. The other thing is that you can extend the dark flame skill a little bit, so you get a bit more stamina back. Because the way the dark flame works is that you can either make it a long animation or a bit shorter one. So the shorter one looks kind of like this, and the extended one looks kind of like this. An extra bit to keep in mind is the dark flame is not always forward guard. It's only forward guard when it's off cooldown. Forward guard means that if you're looking forward and someone attacks you from the front, you can block it. as long as it's off cooldown. The game makes it easier now, so you can see the actual icon forward guard. And another thing, if you look close enough, you might have noticed that the extended one also extends the forward guard. So if you look at the shield icon that is going to be appearing when you do the skill, you see how fast it disappears on the non-extended one. And it's gone. On the other hand, if you extend it a little bit, keep an eye out for it. It's way longer. We may talk about that a bit more in depth in another video. So another thing is that you want to pace yourself, right? You want to have sort of a rhythm. You don't want to... Actually, let's go back a bit. The one thing that I see a lot when Sorcs are starting out is that they learn about the WW hotkey and they just keep it hold forever, right? They just go iframing like crazy. Hey, I'm invincible, right? And then they're out of stamina and they die. So that is what I don't want you to do. I want you to pace yourself. I want you to control it, but more importantly, I want you to know when you're going to iframe. I don't want you to iframe just because you have to iframe, because we don't. In most cases, you will have to, but you gotta know when to. Let's say that guy over there is your enemy, right? To get to him, you would think that you could iframe all the way over there and you'll be fine. Speaking realistically, you could, like this. Like, I'll show you. This. You're there, right? You're to your enemy. That took half of your stamina. That is, if you have 2,141 stamina, right? If you have less than that, it's gonna be either more or less. If you're starting out, which I'm guessing you are, you're basically gonna run out of stamina. You won't have anything, and that's a dangerous spot to be in. So again, you don't want to do this. That's bad. It's gonna get you there. You'll feel invincible because you basically are, but then what are you gonna do? That's what I want you to ask yourself. So before getting to your opponent right over there, I want to show you our forward guard linger, which it only works in awakening because of the sight. So if you're in succession, this won't apply to you. How to linger your frontal guard is really simple. You're gonna iframe to either side, doesn't matter which side, and then you're gonna press C. You're gonna C swap. Really simple. Iframe, C. Again, iframe, C swap. Look at the icons closely. As you can tell, iframe, C swap. The frontal guard is up, and then it's out. More or less the duration of the animation when you get this sight out. So that's really simple. That's it. You can do it to the side. You can do it to the other side. You can do it to the front. Or you can do it to the back. So to keep it up is very simple. You're gonna iframe, you're gonna C swap, wait a little bit, linger it, then you're gonna iframe again to either side, left or right, doesn't matter, and you're gonna linger it again. It's gonna look something like this. So you iframe, C swap, wait a bit, iframe, wait, iframe, wait, iframe, wait, iframe, wait. Simple, right? That's the number one thing most of the Sorc use when trying to stay protected and trying to regen a bit of stamina too. So it's not set in stone how you shard your opponent, but I usually, out of habit, do dark flame and iframe, then C swap, and then keep going with the C swap. You can move your camera to iframe closer and closer, and then get it. That is a stationary opponent, so keep that in mind. Your opponent will be moving left, down, maybe up, so you're probably not even noticing that much, but you should be controlling your stamina right there. Like, you're protected, you're getting forward, you're moving, and if you look at the stamina bar, it's basically full, right? So if for any reason you run out of stamina, use Engulfing Shadow and C-swap. Okay, the good thing about being an awakening is that you can do that, go from shadow, C-swap, and then you can shadow leap to go even further back or front. So that is the basics of it. The way to control your stamina is to practice. You have to keep practicing. You can't be iframing around. If you're in awakening, make sure your dark flame is off cooldown so you get the frontal guard, or if you know your opponent is way back, then you can use it whenever you want, but make sure you're safe. So in succession, it's a bit more difficult to maintain your stamina because you don't have a linger like the awakening one. You just have crow flare, and that's too short and it has a longer cooldown than the awakening, and it doesn't last that long. But you can use pretty much the same methods about the dark flame, iframe, but instead of using the C-swap, you will instead use crow flare, and you're gonna iframe again, which is gonna drain a bit more stamina. But that's the way succession kind of works. It's kind of the trade-off of doing a little bit more damage so you're less protected, as someone said it in my comments. Thank you, by the way. You'll have to keep an eye for your cooldowns on succession more often than in awakening, so I would suggest keep them up until you get used to it. But that's pretty much it. In succession, it's basically the same thing as awakening. The only difference, you're gonna keep that crow flare on cooldown. You will have to iframe a little bit more often than awakening, and that's that. Just as a quick recap for this episode, remember to lock the evasion skill, remember to hotkey the WW, remember to pace yourself when you're iframing, remember to don't get hasty when you're fighting your opponent and he's far away. Remember that you have to practice. You need to practice, otherwise you're not gonna get better. It's just the gist of it. You're not gonna get 100% good at it by doing nothing. You have to put some time into it. It takes a bit, it's frustrating, I know, but you'll get through it. We'll get through it. So that's pretty much it. I'll be leaving a link in the description of new Discord server that I just made for this situation specifically, or any other. If you guys want to talk to me, it's fine. I'll also be doing something special, which is gonna be a homework tab, which you're gonna be able to upload your own videos with a little bit of a challenge that I'll be leaving in at the end of every video. So if you watch it till the end, thank you. And your challenge for this video is going to be to record yourself in a fight where you manage your stamina decently well and you got the kill. So it doesn't matter how you get it, as long as you get it and you control your stamina, and that's a passing grade. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, like, leave a comment below or whatever you fancy, and see you soon.